So they look for meat, and then they find that meat eaters were more likely to die of heart disease 30 years later. So they say, therefore, meat caused that. That's not, you can't conclude that. Because meat eaters do other things. They smoke. They don't exercise. They fat up. Any of those things could explain why meat eaters today were more likely to get heart disease 30 years later. And that's point 1. Point 2, we don't actually know what they were eating for those 30 years because that's what they were eating 30 years ago. So association studies prove nothing. What you have to do is you have to take a group in the United States who are eating a traditional diet and reduce their fat intake and see what happens. Or you have to take a group of Japanese and increase their fat intake and see what happens. And you know what happens? If you go to the United States, there have been 3 major studies where they've taken a large group of people, they've spent billions of dollars. And there's one study cost $700 million. They took 48,000 women and they divided them in half. Half of them continued to eat their normal diets and half ate a low-fat diet like you were told to eat. And they followed them for 8 years. And what would you say they must do with that conclusion? Would you say it's pretty definitive? What they find is pretty definitive. I mean, they take 48,000 people, they spend $700 million, and they get a conclusion. Now, wouldn't you think that's not a good study? And you know what the study showed? It showed that if you were healthy, changing your diet had no effect whatsoever. No effect whatsoever. If you were unhealthy, like if you had heart disease at the start, you did worse by cutting your fat in the diet. If you had diabetes, you did worse. Have you ever been told? No, you've never been told. So we know from long-term studies in the United States that if you take a population and reduce their fat intake, either nothing happens or they get worse. And you're not told. Instead, when I debate people, nutritionists, they say you have to cut your fat intake because we know it's going to make you healthy. But in the clinical trials that are done, it shows the opposite. And you're not told that. It's astonishing. So this, they said, no, well, you see, Keys already proved that fat causes heart disease. But he didn't. Okay, so these studies cannot prove causation. So you can't prove causation. Now, what's really interesting, there was a guy called Yadkin who was around and wrote this book, which is now recognized as the utter classic. He wrote this in the 1970s. He was demonized by the sugar industry. He lost all his funding, and he had to stop doing research. He was written out by the sugar industry. You pick this book up today, and it is absolutely up to date. Because he found that sugar was causing all sorts of diseases. And he said if we go and look at those countries that Keys had looked at, there's a fantastic relationship with sugar intake and heart disease rates. So he said, Keys, how do you know it was fat and not sugar? And you know what Keys said? We know it's fat. Can't be sugar. We know it's fat. What evidence you have? No evidence whatsoever. And Keys was more powerful than Yadkin. And Keys had industry on his side, and Yadkin had industry against him. So what message survived? That it's fat that causes heart disease, not sugar. Yeah. Okay, the next thing that happens is, and I mentioned that Richard Nixon is now facing re-election in 1972. The cost of food is very high in the United States, and the farmers are unhappy, they're poor. So he tells his Secretary of Agriculture, you sort out those 2 problems. You make the farmers wealthy, and you bring down the price of food. And this guy, Phil Butts, comes up with the idea of industrializing the production of corn in the Midwest of the United States of America. So they subsidize the farmers. The farmers all produce these massive conglomerates of farms, and not individual farms anymore. They become conglomerates, and they start producing corn. And that becomes the basis for everything. If you eat food in America, about 70% of what you eat is based on corn. It is a massive industry. And what's happened in the United States, whereas once upon a time there were 60 million bison on these pristine plains, there are now 40 million cattle on feedlots being fed corn, which is being grown on these huge industrial farms. That's what's happening. And what is sustainable? 60 million bison living in complete harmony with the environment. or 40 million cattle, and millions of acres of land being used for corn production. What is more sustainable? Ketogenic, low carbohydrate diet. And some people miraculously cure themselves of cancer by cutting out all carbohydrates. So why did these people not have cancer? Because they weren't eating high carbohydrate, high refined carbohydrate diets. Okay, so that's what we said. So here's Weston's price. Here's Australian Aborigine, amongst the healthiest people in the world until they meet the industrial foods, and then they are the least healthy. Heart disease rates, the highest in the world amongst the Australian Aborigines, 30 times higher than any other population. Their cholesterol are the lowest in the world. Cholesterol levels, lowest in the world, heart disease highest. 30 times higher than anything we see. Okay, now what happens is, but you put these people back in their traditional environments, they become healthy again, and that has been done.